Who's a good boy? Hello there, you little demons. Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Choose Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval themed format where I, the Crown Jewels of WhatCulture.com, and Sagan the Cat dole out a list chosen by you. Yes, you, the person who is, admittedly, I'm holding him here. Hopefully it's not going to mess up the audio side. Apologies. He's not feeling too well at the moment, so I thought I'd let him in on today's recordings, and he was immediately started pacing around my feet. So he's just going to join us today, and I hope that you're okay with that. Internet hates cats, I know. Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out today, and we have none other to thank than... Oh, you don't like that one, do you, mate? ASL Theatre for their suggestion of video games that rewarded you for sitting through sometimes very painfully long credits. Because here's the thing, we all know that video game credits can be long, but you know what? Perhaps you do just need to sit tight and, not skip them because, well, first all these people worked on these experiences and they deserve to get their time in the sun, but sometimes they also hide little secrets, little Easter eggs, and in some cases, even extended gameplay segments. So let's have a chat about them today. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 video games that rewarded you for sitting through the credits. Oh, and by the way, a little side note, ASL, I also enjoyed the fact that you referenced The Deep Cut, which is the show that I also do over on the Future Games Show. Sorry, Sagan, you're cutting into the mic dime now, mate. You might have to go down. Down you go. Number 8, The Joker Sings to Batman, Batman Arkham City. Now, even accepting that we should all know better than to immediately shut the credits off where any superhero media is concerned, Batman Arkham City still pulled quite the cheeky trick on players. You see, for the first 2.5 minutes of the credits, they're basically your typical and ordinary white on black credits that roll out as you would imagine. So if you left the room to grab a snack or take a pee, nobody would actually blame you. But here's the thing, the moody musical score is suddenly interrupted by a voicemail message from the clown prince of crime himself, the Joker, recorded shortly prior to his death at the end of the game. The Joker immediately bursts into a sickly but spirited rendition of the Platter's iconic love song, Only You and You Alone, only further adding fuel to the fire that Batman's most iconic villain really does love the Dark Knight. And on top of all of this, it's hilarious to think about Mark Hamill performing this sing-along in an air-conditioned recording booth somewhere. That mental image just brings me life, that he's having the best time of his life, and now we are too. So cheers, Mark. We're on a first-name basis, clearly. Number 7, Virgil Takes on Mundus, Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening. Now, Devil May Cry 3 introduced a rather fun trend for the franchise, a playable end credit sequence where you can continue battling demonic creatures throughout the whole roll of credits. Now, that's not actually that hidden, but what you might have failed to notice, however, is a counter in the top right-hand corner of the screen which tracks your kills. And this isn't merely just a high score counter for players to try and beat on repeated playthroughs, it's actually keeping of your progress towards unlocking a rather nifty treat. Because if you manage to kill 100 enemies during the roughly 4 minutes of game time that the credits last for, that's approximately a kill every 2.5 seconds, if the math checks out. Side, does it check out?
It do.
Hang
on a second. It do.
Cool. You'll be shown an extra epilogue cinematic where Virgil awakens in the demonic world and prepares to do battle with the villainous Mundus, charging him as the game then cuts to black. Finally. Now granted, getting 100 kills is pretty bloody hard for the mere minute-long cinematic that you get, but it is undeniably cool nonetheless, and the last time I checked, the rule of cool is the only rule we follow here. That and all of the Warhammer 40k rules. It's just part of the house. It's the household rules. Number 6, Blackjack, Final Fantasy IX. Now, it's fair to say that most video game secrets, whether in the credits or not, have at least some tangential relevance to the game's themes, characters, and so on. And then there's the random playable game of Blackjack that showed up at the end of Final Fantasy IX's end credit sequence that makes you question, what the hell's going on here? Because here's the thing, once the end credits have finished rolling and the end appears on the screen, players can enter a cheat code which is R2, L1, R2, R2, up, X, right, circle, down, triangle, L2, R1, R2, L1, square, and square. After which a chime will sound, which Sire's going to make right now.
Whoosh. It's like a whoosh.
Thank you very much, Si. Press start and then you'll be dropped into a game of blackjack against the CPU because, well, I've got no actual reason as to why. I have no idea why the developer thought that was a good inclusion, but at the end of the day, it's in there, it's secret, and it's kind of bloody cool. Now, while it is possible that the inclusion of blackjack is referencing the airship of the same name in Final Fantasy VI, it's a bit of a stretch because it could just be one of the totally random things that developers do for fun. They work long shifts. They've got to entertain themselves somehow. Number 5, you can keep playing the game. Fable. Now, while it's simply expected these days that most open world games will let you keep playing once the end credits have rolled, that actually wasn't the case for most games. In 2004, the classic RPG Fable basically taught players a tough lesson about making sure to sit through the end credits, especially if you're susceptible to FOMO. Because as it turns out, skipping the end credits causes the game to spit you back out to the main menu, forcing you to reload from your last save. But if you let Fable's 10 minutes of credits play uninterrupted, you'll be thrown back into the world and allowed to keep playing post-victory. So your reward for sitting through all of this is to carry on playing this same marvellous adventure game that you've basically been growing to love over the tens of hours that you've sat with it. But if you decide to cut to the chase and get on with your life, the game goes, fine, we're done here. You and I, we're no longer buddies. Get out! Get out! And don't you come back asking for more. You're just like, all right, mate, chill out. I'll sit through it next time. All right, just calm down. Stop yelling in my ear. Number 4, the true ending. Nier Automata. Potato, patata. I'm back, baby. Now, Nier fans should probably know by now that the end credits really don't mean diddly squat when it comes to the entire rest of the game, because Yoko Taro basically looks at the big old book of how to make a game and just goes, ha ha, now put a maid's costume on. Because even though this game has many endings, there was actually a surprise in store for the final one, and it had something to do with the end credit sequence. Because if you beat both endings C and D and then watch the credits roll and wait about a minute, you'll get a message from Pod 153, who will ask permission to perform a data check due to the end credits being muddled by data noise. Data noise. Now, if you accept, you'll be asked if you want to salvage some data, and if you answer in the affirmative once more, ending E will begin with players taking part in a brutally difficult bullet hell-style minigame spawned from the credits themselves. Now, death here is inevitable, and if you die enough, you'll be given the option of getting assistance from other players who agree to delete their save data in order to help other players beat this ending. What? Once you get through it, though, you'll be offered the same choice to sacrifice your save file to add turrets to the ending for another player, in turn making it much easier for them to get through, meaning that it's a beautiful act of cooperation in these final moments as you blast the names of programmers and developers. It's so surreal, it's so utterly mad, it's kind of beautiful in a way, and it's something that only Yoko Taro could have just birthed out of their absolute insanity. He's the type of person, you know, in that Simpsons episode where Barney goes all like, is it like a hippie beatnik sort of thing, and he orders a hat with plum wine in and then a plum floating in it? That's his day to day. That is just how he lives. Number 3, the Dungeons and Dragons skit, Summoner. Now, if you're a Dungeons and Dragons fan, there's a good chance that you'll be familiar with the immortal D&D skit performed by improv comedy troupe The Dead Alewives. Now, written by future Community and Rick and Morty creator Dan Harmon, the 1996 audio skit makes fun of the various controversies which surrounded D&D throughout the 1980s, namely conservative groups accusing it of Satanism, occultism, and even witchcraft. Ooh, witchcraft. Heal my bones with your nettle soup. It's remained a popular sketch ever since it debuted and hilariously made its way into the cult classic 2000 action RPG, Summoner. Now, by choosing to view the credits from I punched myself in the teeth just then for doing that, was pointless. From choosing the credits from the game's main menu, and then pressing X while the credits are rolling, a computer-animated video of the sketch will start playing, including not only Summoner's protagonist Joseph, but also an NPC from developer Volition's next game, Red Faction. So you actually get a joke, a lovely Easter egg that has actually had time and effort put into it, but also you get to see a game you've not even heard of at this point. With a little Easter egg, it's beautiful. Number 2, a trophy. Sonic Colors. Right, okay, so not all rewards on this list are going to be super creative, but all the same, who among us doesn't love the dopamine rush that accompanies that distinctive pop when you get those intangible digital trophies and achievements? I mean, it's definitely hardwired to make me feel the good things. I'm worried about that. And so Sega were keen enough for players to sit through Sonic Colors' almost 15-minute end credit sequence that they gave an incentive for doing so. A trophy for anyone who sat through the entire affair. The trophy was named, hilariously, Giving Credits Where Credits Due. Pretty good. I tip my cap to, sir. Very funny indeed. Very funny indeed. And you can get it just by leaving your controller idle, which is less funny, less imaginative than the title. But you get it from actually just sitting there and appreciating all the effort people have put into Sonic Colors, which is... Ooh, okay, Si, could you pull out the Where is Sonic Colors O-meter that we did those summers ago? Same time that we did the Watt-o-meter and the Shrieker-meter from all those years ago. Now, in the grand scheme of things, Sonic 06, right down the bottom, rise of lyric. They've got that weird grey area where the Sonic decided to go like all odd.
Shadow the Hedgehog?
Shadow the Hedgehog, and like that one we went in to fight the knight. Remember that one? What was going on there? Sonic Colors is like... It's definitely under Sonic Mania. Definitely under Sonic Mania.
Yeah.
Definitely under the entire original Sonic trilogy as well.
Yeah.
Is it under Sonic 4?
No.
It's around the same level as Sonic 4.
No.
This is a drawn-out sketch that was funny, and then actually went into an actual like tier list thing, which isn't funny at all. But there you go. That's my thoughts on the sum of the Sonic saga.
What are we doing here?
I don't know either. And finally, we end on number 1, Invisible Tetris, Tetris The Grandmaster 2 and 3. Now, in complete fairness, this can only really be considered a reward to the most masochistic of players, but it is absolutely fascinating all the same. You see, in the second and third entries into the Tetris The Grandmaster franchise, nimble-fingered players who manage to reach level 999 and effectively beat the game will see the end credits roll, as you would expect. But here comes the reward for doing what most cannot. An additional game of Tetris can be played over the credits where each Tetramino turns invisible after the players have locked its placement. This adds an almost unfathomable level of challenge to an already maddeningly difficult game, forcing players to try and memorize their block pattern while also trying to, actually play regular Tetris. It is, of course, something reserved only for the most elite of Tetris players, who are really the only folk wild enough to ever consider taking on this bonkers challenge anyway. Needless to say, only a small handful of folk have ever actually beaten it. And you consider that the deep cut of this list here on What Culture, courtesy of FGS. So there we go, my friends. Those were 8 video games that rewarded you for sitting through the credits. I hope that you enjoyed that. And let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. If you want to chat to me further on socials, you can do so over here. You can follow my lovely editor site over here on her social medias as well. But before I go, let's talk about another reward that I can potentially give you for sitting through the end credits of this show, which is just a little dose of positivity, my friend. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're achieving your life goals, and I hope that you're treating yourself with that love and kindness that I know you deserve, and you need to know that as well, because you are a massive ledge, all right? And if you're not feeling it today, if you woke up and just go, no, today's not it, champ, you know what? Let's just get through it together. Let's just move on, start building bridges within ourselves to make sure that tomorrow is slightly better. Just be kind to yourself. Take the foot off the gas that is negativity and just enjoy what is around us at the moment. Get a bit of perspective, okay, my friend? Because you will find that your energy saved, not beating yourself up, can be used better tomorrow to drive you towards your goals. All right? Big love to you, my friend, and I hope you're smashing it. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.